Yes. All right, welcome in to the Rant. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every day, round about noon. Today we're starting late. It's a almost 2:30 start. 2:15 is what I've got on my clock. So let's write that down for the history books. This is going to happen on Wednesdays moving forward. The shows are going to be a little bit delayed. I will do them, though, I promise you. It's just that there are other obligations that are now kind of taking up the time when typically I would be doing the show. So if we're all okay with that, welcome to a mid-afternoon show. The mid-afternoon shows will be noteworthy because I will possibly and probably, at least today for sure, not wearing my typical uniforms. That's right. Look at me in all my glory. Dressed like a normal person on the street today. I had things to do. All right, welcome in. Let's say hi to our folks in the chat room. We got Peter in here already. We got CC here. We got Peter again. We got Peter again. We got Rainey. We got Peter. We got me. We got Sports Pro. Okay, I don't know where everybody is. It's a little bit later show, but they'll get here. I promise. They'll get here. Let's see. What do I have? What do I have for you? Anything I need to mention? Anything at all that I need to mention? Yeah, how about this? All right, so we do the show here in Dallas. I am a sports fan. This is not a sports show. This is talk radio for normal people. But I will when there is a sports story. I certainly will find myself interested in it, and I may share it with you all. We do that from time to time. Well, Dallas is, of course, football crazy, and I'm football crazy. And my Bears have no head coach, and now my Cowboys, my second team. But let's be honest, if it was a Super Bowl, which it never could be, but if it was like a championship game, I would totally be rooting for the Bears. Unless the Bears had rattled off like 5 Super Bowls and now it was time for, the Cowboys. Then I'd be okay with it. We had like a Patriots kind of situation going on. I might at one go, you know what? Maybe it'd be all right for my second team to win one. Mike McCarthy was the former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And about a week or so ago, the Chicago Bears, in their coaching search, they picked up the phone. They called Jera. They said, "Hey, Jera." No, actually, he's more like, hey, ring, because it would be calling from Chicago. So it's going to have a Chicago accent. Ring. And then they'd answer in Texas. How y'all doing? And then the guy from Chicago would be like, "Hey, we's looking for some permissions. We's thinking maybe we would like to talk to that your coach, Mike McCarthy." And they said, "Hell no!" And so the Cowboys said no to Mike McCarthy interviewing with the Chicago Bears, and it turned into a whole thing. Like, it must mean Jera wants to keep Mike. But then, as it turned out, that wasn't the case. They were apparently too far apart, or whatever the reason is. I don't care. All I know is that Mike McCarthy is no longer the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and he's out there in the wind. Oh, God, there he goes. He's a plastic Kroger bag in an empty parking lot, just blowing on a windy day, just blowing. You don't know where it's going to go. Just a plastic bag. God forbid Mike McCarthy end up in Chicago. Has been my position. I'm evolving on that. I know. I'm kind of evolving on that. Anyway, moving on. I'm starting to think that Mike McCarthy is the guy the Bears are going to hire. And I think they're going to hire him like really soon. Like, they might announce it today, and I'm going to tell you why. The Chicago Bears have been doing an extensive head coaching search. 20 names. Most teams, 4 or 5, they'll interview, 20 names on this list. They're talking to everybody. Should it be Ben Johnson? Should it be Mike Vrabel? No. Should be Pete Carroll. And now Mike McCarthy's there. He checks all of the stated boxes that the management of the Bears say they want. So I don't know. I'm a little concerned. I'd like something new and unknown to get excited about. Like Pete Carroll. That's so yeah, I'm a bit of a hypocrite for sure. But here's where it gets real troubling. And you're going, Pugs, why would you think this? Here's why. The Bears have interviewed upwards of 20 people already, okay? Only 2 of those interviews have been in person, okay? Only 2. Ron Rivera yesterday and Mike McCarthy today, okay? Only 2 have been in person. All the rest of them have been Zoom. Now, when you're talking about the Chicago Bears, it really does take a Chicago Bears fan to be able to prism this for you, to put it through the proper lens so you understand what to think here. For instance, there is a tier system. They were just talking about it on my favorite sports show, The Score. They were talking about the fabled Chicago Bear tier system of how serious they are in a coaching candidate. It culminates with top of the tier is George McCaskey picks you up at the airport, which he apparently did with Matt Nagy. He will go to the airport and pick you up. Then you get to in-person interview where you're actually brought to Hallis Hall to interview. That's second tier. And then there's a Zoom interview. You know, Mike McCarthy this afternoon experienced a tier of Chicago Bear ownership seduction that nobody has ever gotten before, and every other team probably does. I don't know. I assume they do. Mike McCarthy not only got an in-person interview with the Chicago Bears today, Mike McCarthy was flown private. Oh, I know you think that's not a big deal. I'll team up. The Bears don't have a plane. The McCaskey family doesn't have a plane. Okay. They fly commercial. They're like an old-timey family with a little bit of money, but they're not like modern rich people like Bezos and Jera. They're like old-timey, what do they call it? Victorian age rich or whatever. So yeah, they flew Mike McCarthy in private. They ain't never done that for nobody. And a matter of fact, in the past, when they've brought people in, there have been embedded reporters that found out what flight and would get on the plane with the coach and take no, the Bears don't fly you private. So they freaking flew Mike McCarthy private. Okay, so here we are. Cowboys, for their trouble, they're probably going to end up getting Deion Sanders. It's going to be terrible. Oh, it's going to be so incredible, though. If the look, you people out there, you dummies, with all due respect, I know you love your team. You dummies. Jason Witten and Deion Sanders are in no way good candidates for head coach of these Dallas Cowboys. They're just not. They're just not. They check no boxes other than and wait a second. Jason Witten, maybe, I heard somebody say the other day, and I'll say it again. Jason Witten, this is an exciting job, head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. For 3 jobs down the line for Jason Witten. He's a high school coach. Was he going to take I love Jason Witten. Is he going to take a flyer on the Cowboys head coaching job the way he took a flyer on broadcast? No. Everybody loves Jason Witten, okay? He's not the guy. He's not the guy. Make him the ambassador of fun. Do something like that. Deion? Oh. All right, he is absolutely not the guy, but for altogether different reasons. Which is why I want Deion. I really don't give a shit if the Cowboys win a Super Bowl. I do care about the Cowboys being funny. And you know what they are? You know what I want the Cowboys to be? Because in their best times, I've never been a Cowboy. I've never lived here in Dallas when the Cowboys were winning. In their best times, when I find the Cowboys the most entertaining, they are a goddamn circus fire. That's what they are. They are on fire. Everything's being destroyed, but God damn is it entertaining right up until that moment. It's a circus fire out there. So let's bring in Deion Sanders. Let's do this. There's a guy on Twitter. He's like, here's what they're going to do. Cowboys going to hire Deion Sanders. They're going to trade Dak. What? They're gonna for Dak, they're gonna get Shador, and it's gonna be Deion and Shador. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Really? That's the plan? And the dude's like, "This is the plan." It's that's fun. That's what fandom is all about. But you signed Dak Prescott. Well, trade him. Yeah, with who? Who's gonna take on the contract, the newly minted contract? It's 1 year old. Who's gonna take on that contract? Jerry made him the highest paid player in football, and then he got hurt again, and the team imploded. What football team out there is gonna go, yeah, He should be the highest paid player. We're going to take on that contract. And oh yeah, can he walk? I mean, how's his injury? He's coming off an injury. Oh, why not? We'll do it. Untradeable. Dak is untradeable. I mean, the Cowboys could do a Herschel Walker thing where they end up giving up just to move the contract. But that ain't going to happen. All right, what else do we have here? So I wanted to mention that this is a small talk segment. The show plays out. It's a stream of consciousness. It's just me talking about the day's hot topics. We run through all the day's hot topics in quarter 4. There are 3 quarters, 3 segments that I do that precede that. One is antecedently on this day. The other is birthdays. Antecedently on this day is history. It's this day in history. You know, we're gonna go through a couple of cool things that happened on this day. We'll talk about them a little bit, and then we move on. Birthdays is 2. Those are people born on this day. Do we like them? Do we wish them a happy birthday or not? Quarter 3, deads. These are the people who died on this day. Celebrities, historical figures, notable quotables, if you will. We open up their life's resume and we decide, hey, this person go to heaven or did they go to hell? All right. And then quarter 4 is all the hot topics. This is small talk. As we now I see the room filling up. Hi, Adam. Adam's here. Adam says, it's going to be hilarious when Jaden Daniels beats the Lions in the playoffs. All right. So how am I going to react to that? I don't think Washington's going to beat Detroit, but it's the NFL. That's why we play the games. Jaden Daniels is incredible. Yeah, I wouldn't. Adam, go ahead, Adam. Lay some money down on that. If I don't think you should be allowed to sports shit talk anymore without having actual money in some prop bet on your shit talking. Cut down on all the nonsense. It would also make it less fun. Shit talking sports is pretty good. Let's see here. Frankie Benlin's in the chat room. He says Cowboys have a tier system. Oh, the pain. Tier. T-E-A-R. I see what he did there. I said the Bears have a tier system, T-I-E-R, and he said the Cowboys have a tier system, T-E-A-R. That's funny when you got to explain it, but it was cute. I like it. Let's see here. What else do we have? Oh. Here's my new favorites for here's honestly who I think should be the Bears and the Cowboys coaches, and we'll round up with that. Okay. So here's what I like for the Bears. I like Pete Carroll as head coach. I'm staying on that one. I still like Pete. Culture guy, respect, whatever. CEO. Head coach is the CEO. Leader of men. Legion of Boom. Monsters of the Midway. I don't know. It lines up. It's good. It's good. So I want Pete Carroll. And I want Thomas Brown, the current interim head coach, to remain as our offensive coordinator. I want him to get a full shot. He and Caleb are pals. Let's do it. All right, there we go. For the Cowboys, what I want, and what I think is the best deal for the Cowboys. What I want for the Cowboys is Deion Sanders, because that'll be hysterical. What is best for the Cowboys, what the Cowboys should really do right now, and it's Texas, so let's do a little gambling here. The Cowboys are in an opportunity to go out there and get one of those young, hot guys. Don't just placate Jerry by getting another 70-year-old coach. Go get one of those young, hot guys. Go get a Monken. Go get a Roman. Go get who else is out there? What other coordinators are out there? You could even convince me that bringing back Kellen Moore might be all right. But I think the Cowboys need a young guy with something to prove, because a young guy with something to prove is probably the only type that is going to put up with Jerry. It's got to be a young guy who is willing to abide the management structure of the Cowboys in order to make a name for themselves. It's got to be that guy. We're not going to do the Belichick thing, or not the Belichick. We're not going to do the Parcells thing again, where all they do is fight, right? So we're not going to bring in another lion of the NFL because he's desperately looking for a little dose of relevance. And then, a couple of games in, you're hearing about how he and Jerry, the two lions, just don't respect each other. So it's got to be a young guy. I would love, I don't think it'll happen, but I would love for it to be Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson's got some demands. Ben Johnson is supposedly looking for control of team management. not so much in the form of his daily job requirements, but he wants his own GM. He wants his own president of player personnel. These are not things that offensive coordinators with a completely unproven record as a head coach should ever be allowed to ask for, but we are in the multi-billion-dollar ages of the NFL. So hot prospects, people bend over backwards. I believe that Jerry could create. Jerry doesn't have a system. Other teams would have to fire GMs. Jerry doesn't really have that system right now. He can create a faux structure to lure a guy like Ben Johnson to make him feel like he's got some autonomy. When in reality, we all know it's still going to be Jerry at the top. Yeah, bring your GM. We're going to call that guy GM. All right, we're going to pay him. How much we got to pay him? Steven, but Daddy, I'm the GM. Steven, you're not a president of football operations. You're even more important than him. It's the same thing. Just let him call himself the GM and let the coach think that the Cowboys could do that easily. And they will. And, maybe Ben Johnson is Ben Johnson. Maybe Ben Johnson is that guy. I don't know. I don't want to risk that with my quarterback. I got a quarterback that's very important who needs to be handled by people who I know have a history of handling these kinds of things. So Ben Johnson, yes. Ben Johnson might get Dak fired up, so I would love it. I don't think it's happening. What are you going to do? So who are they going to end up with? Todd Monken! The Dallas Cowboys will end up hiring Todd Monken. Mark it. I said it. Okay, there we go. Peter wants Kingsbury, really? That's interesting. You know who the other guy who legitimately perfect world, this would be a great guy for the Dallas Cowboys right now in the stage that the Dallas Cowboys are in. In the perfect world, it ain't Kingsbury. It's Sark. It's Sarkisian. It's him. I think him going from Texas to the Cowboys, just feels like Jimmy. It just feels like, not that, Sark's coming off a national championship the way Jimmy did, but it's just, I don't know. I like that feeling. That just feels good to me. I don't know that I can intellectually back that up other than it just feels right. Although, will the allure of NFL turn Sark back into old Cuddy Sark, if you know what I mean? Will the allure and the glamour and the nightlife of Dallas be too much and the pressure of Jerry, will it be too much? Will it drive old Cuddy back to the bottle? I don't know. I hope not. Peter says Kingsbury. I remember Kingsbury being real interesting with Kyler in the early days. And then I also remember Kingsbury, not being good. I remember, I don't know. Anyway, there we go. That's small talk as it pertains to football. Let's talk now about something else I wanted to mention in the small talk segment. And then we'll get into the show. We're going to run through some things. I put a show together, so we got a show. Don't know how long the show will go today. By the way, it doesn't matter. We got another show coming tonight. So make sure you like, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff. Pugs and Parker return this evening live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the E Gallery. That's tonight, probably around 7 o'clock, somewhere around there, 7:30. I don't know, somewhere in there. Two things that I watched last night. One thing that I watched, and then another thing that I watched like the first half hour of before it was like, okay, got to go to bed. It's 11:30. So I wanted to mention these because they were two incredibly enjoyable things. Last night, I finally saw The Substance. The Substance is that movie that Demi Moore is winning all kinds of awards for. Demi Moore just won the Golden Globe for Best Actress. She's nominated for an Oscar for Best Actress. And I am telling you, if she doesn't win, I don't want any part of it. The Substance is a crazy, insane film. I was struggling earlier today with how I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but how do I explain what The Substance is like to watch? I won't tell you the plot or what it's about, but I will say it's like a film. It's like, imagine if David Lynch, David Cronenberg, and Stanley Kubrick made a film. No, let's get rid of Kubrick. Yes, here's what we're going to do. What if David Lynch, David Cronenberg, and Tim Burton all made a film, made a body horror film? A body horror film. Ew! Not my cup of tea. I don't like slasher, blood, gore, and all of that. This is, David Cronenberg. That's why I put him in. It's a body horror film. It is the story of an actress, and I am telling you, it is perfect. They must have written it for Demi Moore. I mean, it's like just so spot on for who she is. It's the story, the substance is the story of an actress who turns 50, and all of a sudden she ain't hot anymore. And all of a sudden Hollywood wants nothing to do with her, and she's kind of forgotten. She used to be a legend, and now she's fading, and she's given this opportunity. She's approached by somebody about this new drug called the substance. And if you take this substance, it will allow you to regain your youth. But there's a catch. You regain your youth in the form of another human being who pops out of your body. And yes, we get to see the lovely Margaret Qualley bust through the back skin of Demi Moore. Oh my God. All right, so that's the premise. Demi Moore, the aging actress, takes this drug. She morphs into two people. One of them is significantly younger. One is her perfect idealized self. So it's Margaret Qualley, a super smoking 23-year-old actress, right? So you got Demi Moore, who's like 60 in real life, and then you got Margaret Qualley, who just pops out of her back and is sort of her. It's her. They're the same person. And because they're the same person, they have to share months, like basically 1 week. Every 7 days, they have to switch, okay? So for 7 days, she's the 50-year-old Demi Moore, and she's going through life as this fading actress. And then for 7 days, she is the hottest thing in Hollywood. She is hosting award shows, and she is on red carpets and magazine covers and giant billboards. And then 7 days goes back to being the old, sort of forgotten actress. And it's incredible. It is a really, really good movie. The director is amazing. Whoever this director is, man, she will blow you away with her filmmaking. It is just bright colors and solids and weird. It looks like it takes place in a reality that is about 92% the reality we recognize. But then there's like just 8%, like Tim Burton, like a Tim Burton neighborhood, how it's all like, that looks real, but no. It's very cool. The substance, very cool. The other thing that I watched last night on Netflix, I only got a first half hour in, but I am hooked. It's called Sons of Ecstasy. Sons of Ecstasy. It's a new documentary that debuted on Netflix within the last couple of days because I just saw it popped up last night. It's the story of Sammy the Bull Gravano when he was in the witness protection program. Like, this is just, you want to talk about incorrigible. So Sammy the Bull Gravano, if you remember from the Gambino crime family, he was the key witness against John Gotti that put John Gotti in prison. Sammy the Bull was John Gotti's right-hand man. Sammy the Bull Gravano turned rat, went into the witness protection program, and then popped back up like 10 years later in Phoenix as the godfather of like the Southwest's largest ecstasy ring. Like, they put him in the witness protection program, and he and his son and his family just started an ecstasy ring. It's crazy cool. It is so interesting. It's called The Sons of Ecstasy, and it's on Netflix. So there you go. 2 more things for you to watch and be entertained by. All right, let's get started with today's show. It is the Rant for the 15th day of January, year of our Lord, 2025. There have been, let me do it in my head, 15 days. 15 days in the year 2025. That means that there are 350 days remaining until New Year's Eve. Get those New Year's Eve plans started. All right, let's do the first segment. Antecedently on this day is what we call it. It's a look back at the events that have helped shape our understanding of history of this day, what it means, what kind of rhythms, what kind of patterns. Oh, shut up and just get to it. Okay, here we go. On this day, antecedently in the year 1889, the Coca-Cola Company, then known as the Pemberton Medicine Company, is incorporated. One of the defining companies of American capitalism, Coca-Cola. Antecedently on this day of the year 1892, hey, happy birthday basketball, because it was on this day James Naismith published for the very first time the Unified Rules of Basketball. Basketball became an actual thing with a rule book and everything. on this day in 1892. Antecedently, on this day in 1919, I hate to laugh at this, but we cover it every year. We've been doing this show every day for 3 years, and sometimes these stories pop up, and they're the stories that make me laugh. This one is an absolute horror show, but also so many questions, and it's never been told. I don't know why. I think could it make a comedy? It couldn't be a comedy because it's so terrible. Here we go. It was on this day in the year 1919, city of Boston, the Great Molasses Disaster. The Great Molasses Disaster occurred in the north end of Boston on this day in the year 1919. Now, what is the Great Molasses Disaster, or the Sticky Flood, or the Great Molasses Flood? It was on this day that a thing, what do they call it? A storage tank, I guess. A storage tank holding 2.5 million gallons of raw molasses exploded at once in an alley in the north end of Boston, creating a tidal wave in the alley of slow-moving molasses. It destroyed everything. It was like the Blob. They said that for a decade, everything in the north end of Boston either smelled like molasses or was fucking sticky. Like everything was sticky for years. Here's what it says. The Great Molasses Flood, also known as the Boston Molasses Disaster, or the Sticky Flood, was a disaster that occurred on Wednesday, January 15th, 1919, in the north end neighborhood of Boston. A large storage tank filled with 2.3 million gallons, I thought it was 2.5, but okay, of molasses, weighing approximately 13,000 tons, burst. And the resultant wave of molasses rushed through the streets at an estimated 35 miles per hour. I always thought it was a slow ooze. 2.3 million gallons of molasses weighing 13,000 tons rolled through the streets of Boston at 35 miles per hour. Okay, I guess it's not a comedy. Wow. I mean, think if this happened today. Think of the way CNN would cover. I mean, this is a thing that happened. That's a fun idea. Wouldn't that be a fun? Could you do that? Could we do that? Could we take great events, great historical events from history, and then give them the modern breaking news treatment? Would that be a video that people would watch? No, because nobody watches any of your ideas. Well, I guess the other half of that is you'd have to make it good. It's only half the battle is having the idea. Then you need talent to make it good. A large storage tank, 2.3 million gallons, 13,000 tons, filled with molasses. It burst. It rushed through the streets at 35 miles per hour. It killed 21 people and injured 150 other. The event entered local folklore. Residents in Boston reported for decades afterwards that the area still smelled of molasses on hot summer days and that things were always sticky. There you have it. The Great Molasses Disaster in Boston on this day in 1919. Antecedently, on this day in 1947, another big town-defining event. This was big. On this day in 1947, the Black Dahlia murders occurred in Los Angeles. Murder. It's one murder. The Black Dahlia is one of the most mysterious, cold case, unsolved Hollywood murders. Happened in this day in 1947, the swinging days of glamour Hollywood. Elizabeth Short was her name. She was an actress, although not an actress of any note. It was just, she was an actress. She was an actress, and she was found in the park in some neighborhood in Los Angeles. I'm not even sure exactly where. I don't know if it's Griffith Park. Maybe, I don't know. That's for some reason, that's what I want to say, but what do I know? I don't live there. She was found in a park, but she was mutilated. She was dismembered. She was cut in half. Her body was posed. It was very for 1947. This was some serious 1970s, 1980s serial killer shit this guy was doing. Posed her and all that stuff. What do we know about the murder? They never solved it. They don't know who did it. It's been a huge mystery. Obviously, the Black Dahlia, there have been movies made and all that stuff. So there was a guy who did, so the murderer began, and again, this is how ahead of his time the Black Dahlia murderer was. This is straight out of the 1970s and 80s serial killer playbook. He started writing letters to the newspaper in 1947 saying, I am the Black Dahlia murderer. And interestingly enough, you know the cliche of a ransom note? Whenever you see a ransom note depicted in a movie or in a TV show, what is it? It's always cut out letters from a magazine, right? That thing. That is from the Black Dahlia. That originated with the way the Black Dahlia murderer communicated with the newspapers. He meticulously cut out all of the letters from newspapers and glued them together like a real psycho. Anyway, so yeah, this guy was saying that he was going to turn himself into police, but he wanted to give him time to try and find him, and he wasn't going to do any of the murders. He only did this because she deserved it, and he wouldn't go into any more details. Then he kills himself. That guy, he killed himself. He went down to the river or whatever, and he killed himself, and he left a note, and it said, hey, it's me again, the Black Dahlia guy. You guys were taking too long to catch me, so I'm going to kill myself because I can't live with what I've done. So he does that, right? The police he was an important lawyer. He was a high-powered attorney in Los Angeles in 1947 who came from a very highly and politically connected family, a very important family. This is the guy who was writing letters and who ended up killing himself. He turned out to be some pretty well-known Los Angeles attorney who was having an extramarital affair with Elizabeth Short. Okay, so he did it. He said he did it, right? They did the investigation, and suddenly the DA in LA is like, yeah, he's not a suspect. And everybody's like, he said he did it. He had details. Yeah, no. I don't know if you know this or not, but his dad's a judge. So yeah, he didn't do it. We're going to keep, and that's why the Black Dahlia murder is still open from 1947. The guy who did it, his family was so well connected that they got the police to drop all the charges and say he's not even involved. Chinatown, baby. Chinatown. Los Angeles of the 1940s. You ever seen that movie, Chinatown? I mean, that's exactly what. So that's what happened. And it was on this day, Elizabeth Short, known as the Black Dahlia, was found in Los Angeles. On this day, antecedently in the year 1967, the first Super Bowl is played. The Green Bay Packers defeat the Kansas City Chiefs 35-10. There you go. They had what did they give tickets away? It was like a nothing game. Like nobody took this first Super Bowl. The Super Bowl halftime show was like a high school marching band. Yeah. All right, there you go. Antecedently on this day in 2001, Wikipedia, a free wiki content encyclopedia, is launched. Today is known globally as Wikipedia Day. Wikipedia is a top 5 website of all time in my life. Certainly Google is in there. Wikipedia and Google. I'm trying to think what are the two that I use most? And they'd almost go hand in hand because anytime I Google something, it is almost exclusively to get to the Wikipedia page. And I click on the Wikipedia page. I love Wikipedia. There should be some concerns with Wikipedia. The classic concern with Wikipedia is that you cannot trust it because people can put and edit whatever you want. Okay, so I get that. And that is absolutely something that should be a concern when considering the information you get from Wikipedia. However, I can tell you, as someone who uses Wikipedia multiple times every day, there is a workaround for that, okay? When something is breaking, like right now, the big story would be the peace deal, the peace negotiation, the ceasefire and the hostage deal that was reached between Hamas and Israel. We'll get to that in a moment. That peace deal, if you were to look that up right now on Wikipedia, yeah, you don't believe it's crazy right now. There's people, it's happening in real time. But if you're doing research on something that isn't, happening in the moment, that people aren't screwing with, if you're doing honest research, like you need to know about the Viking sagas or something like that, Wikipedia is freaking irreplaceable. Irreplaceable. But, with breaking news and stuff like that, people, you do have to worry, but that's the workaround. Understand that what you're looking at on Wikipedia, does it sound right? And that's the other thing I like about Wikipedia. They do a really good job of this. if there is something that doesn't sound right, like, and you should be a discerning consumer of information. If something that you're reading just doesn't strike you as right, there's almost always an opportunity right there to cross-check it. There's almost always, really, is that true? And then that's when you go, oh, okay, that's bullshit. And then maybe the next time you check it out, that page, that'll be gone because they police themselves. There are people that fix that stuff. I like Wikipedia. Happy birthday, Wikipedia. Wikipedia and Coca-Cola on the very first day. Oh, and the Super Bowl. Look at that. Wikipedia, the Super Bowl. And Wikipedia, the Super Bowl, Coca-Cola, and basketball all share this day. Pretty cool. On this day in 2009, U.S. Air... Oh, yeah, okay, I was started to read this, and I'm like, wait a second, I don't do plane crashes. I don't remember this being a plane crash. 2009, Sully. This is the day that Sully landed the plane on the Hudson River. U.S. Airways Flight 1549 ditches safely in the Hudson River after the plane collides with birds less than 2 minutes after takeoff. This becomes known as the Miracle on the Hudson, as all 155 people on board were rescued. Sully, man. I don't even know if that was hard. I don't know. Seemed cool, I don't know. I'm not a pilot, and you're not either. We all just went, wow, that's awesome. And it was awesome because, right, I don't know, you land that on the Long Island Freeway. I don't know that everybody survives, but you got it on belly up in the water. That's cool. I don't know. Is that a hard thing for pilots to do? And don't be like, well, yeah, Pogs, you couldn't do it. No, I couldn't do it because I have no training as a pilot. But if I'd been training as a pilot, and let's not kid ourselves, Sully was an old, weathered veteran pilot. He logged a lot of air miles. Was that something hard? Or was that like, shit, birds. All right, let's put it in the water. Like, was he cool about it? He was because he's Sully. Sully's awesome. Remember in the months after Sully, people tried to pull up crap on Sully, and we were all like, nah, not with Sully. I don't care. I don't care about some chick he dated in high school talking some shit about how he had body odor and his feet stunk. I don't want to hear it about Sully. We made him an instant American icon, and I'm proud to say I still observe that. I still observe Captain Sully Sultan. Don't even know his name. Not a clue. Not a clue. He's Sully. Do you know his name? Sullenberger, right? But what's his? Oh, yeah. I just realized I do know his name. It's like a really messed up name. It's a good name for history, though. It'll be like this is the kind of name you're used to reading on Wikipedia. Isn't it like Captain Chelsney Sullenberger? Captain Chelsney. He's got like one of them names that sounds historically significant. Chelsney. Whatever. It was on this day. Sully freaking landed that shit. Good for you, Sully. Let's do birthdays. People born on this day. Celebrities born on this day. They claim it's their birthday. I don't know. We're just going to go with it. Born on this day in 1913, Lloyd Bridges. Hot take. Lloyd Bridges is not as big as Kirk Douglas. Pugs, what are you on the spectrum? You're just throwing out random shit now? No, this means something to me because, when I was a kid growing up, I always liked Michael Douglas and I always liked Jeff Bridges and they were friends growing up. And I always thought that was interesting that they were friendly. They knew each other. I don't know. There was some connection there, whatever. Maybe it was Bo Bridges and somebody, who knows, whatever. There is a connection there. And I thought that's cool because they both have super famous dads. And as a kid, I didn't make any distinction between the career of Lloyd Bridges and the career of Kirk Douglas, right? I thought they were the same. They ain't the same, all right? So that's a whole new dynamic for them when they were kids. Like, I thought that, Michael Douglas hanging out with Jeff Bridges, he'd be like, my dad's famous. He's like, no, my dad's famous. No, your dad's famous too. Yeah, our dads are both equally famous. That is not the case. It was like one was motherfucking Kirk Douglas, Oscar winner, Spartacus's kid. And the other dude was on Sea Hunt, right? So, Lloyd Bridges, not as big as I always thought he was. I always thought he was much bigger than he's not. He got big in the 80s because of the whole airplane movies, right? He's sniffing the glue and all that stuff. Lloyd Bridges, fun guy, not as big as Kirk Douglas. All right, born on this day in 1913. Born on this day in 1929. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., ladies and gentlemen, American minister and activist, Nobel Prize laureate, one of arguably the most important people in American history, certainly. Here's how I know that to be true. There are a couple of things look, I don't know, 2025, we're in a weird time. I'm still very ethnically and culturally curious, right? So I come from an Irish Catholic culture. I love the bells and whistles of being a cultural Catholic, which is what I still am. I don't believe in any of that shit, but I like the, bells and whistles and stuff. I like the cool goth vibe of it all. It's fun, and I can go to church and I can get right back into it, and I can cosplay. I can do it. So anyway, I like that. And then, Irish culture, we come from an embattled land. I know that most people don't think that. They think you're white people from Europe. I'm like, nah, but we're the slaves of Europe. You don't get that. They didn't have to go all the way to Africa and the Middle East to find people to, put under their thumb. All they had to do was go to Ireland, and they were doing that. So Irish culture, when they came to America to escape whatever it was they were escaping, it's Mexican culture. I love the pride of Mexican culture in this country, whereas other people might be like, be more like us. I'm like, no, man, fucking bring your food, your hot women, your fun swear words. Let's go. I like it all. But with Martin Luther King, he's one of them dudes where if you've ever been in a black person's kitchen or living room, or especially like an older woman, what kind of question is that? You guys ever been in a black person's house? Oh man, they smell weird. No, totally. Just trust me, white people. Black dude's house, just like ours. There's more likely than not going to be a picture of Martin Luther King. That's how you know. That's how you know how important he was. Well, that and history books and stuff. Irish people, it's John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy. You go to an old Irish grandma's house, she's gonna have a picture of John F. Kennedy. Just like the old black grandma's gonna have a picture of Martin Luther King. I don't know who the Mexicans have. I got no. The Italians got the Pope. Italians always have the Pope. Oh, yeah. Oh, you think I'm crazy? You got any real Italian households? You know any real Italian friends? Their grandma has a picture of the Pope in her house. I promise. I think all of these houses have pictures of Jesus somewhere. I think Jesus is also represented across the board. But we're talking about the cultural specific photographs that you'll find in people's homes. Maybe do Mexicans have, what do Mexicans have? I don't know who they got. Jimmy Smits. Let's go with Jimmy Smits. That's the guy from LA Law. I don't know. I'm not being disrespectful. I don't know. Tell me. Inform me. Canadians, of course. They go to a Canadian. They got Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey right there. Big picture of Jim Carrey in every Canadian American's house. I don't know. Anyway, Martin Luther King, born on this day, deservedly so. His picture is in every black grandma's house in America. Let's see here. Born on this day in 1947. One of the all-timers. One of the, look, hey, you know how I got my list of great American frauds, right? Okay, so I also have my list of great American. How come they weren't much more famous than they turned out to be? This is an example. Selena, Sports Bras says. Selena is in the Mexican house. I like Jimmy Smits. I gotta be honest. I like Jimmy Smits. I like Jimmy Smits better than I like Jimmy Smits. All right. Where was I? Let's see. Just come in here to read some of the thoughts of it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, my list of why isn't this person more famous? And it's also interesting because this person, born on this day in 1947, was one of two women associated with this absolutely landmark series. And she was in the moment that this landmark series was marking its land. She was like the star. She was easily the funniest and most front and center person in this show. Her screen time was more than anybody else. And she earned it. It was because she was hysterical. She's still alive. I shouldn't talk about her like she's dead. The other woman that was with her, the other woman has, there was about a 15-year period in the other woman's career where she was kind of just, what is she going to be? What is she going to be? But the other woman is now a treasure, a national treasure. I talk about her all the time. I'm talking here about Catherine O'Hara, the national treasure. Catherine O'Hara was one of 2 women on SCTV, the landmark comedy series of the late 70s, early 1980s. In my opinion, the funniest and most important comedy show in history. Okay, there were 2 women. There was the great Catherine O'Hara, who we all love, and there was Andrea Martin. Andrea Martin, one of the great improv and sketch artists of all time. She didn't get to be the big movie star the way that Catherine O'Hara did, or the way that John Candy did, or even, go on to be this really important director and actor like Harold Ramis did. She didn't. Andrea Martin just kind of, after SCTV went off the air, she would pop up here, she would pop up there. And I always thought, what the hell is going on here? Why doesn't she have a vehicle? Why isn't she being made into a star? She was just so incredible, so great. Apparently, she's on a show now. Wait, she is on some show now. She's got a small role in some show I don't know what it is. Anyway, I want to show you a little bit of Andrea Martin and how absolutely brilliant she is as a comedic actress. This is classic Andrea Martin and Catherine O'Hara. This is young Catherine O'Hara and young Andrea Martin from, I think this is the first season of SCTV. It is a character that Andrea Martin did a number of times on the show called Perini Scleroso. Perini Scleroso was an immigrant woman who was trying to learn a new country's ways. Perini Scleroso is entirely based, it's not a character she made from whole cloth. It is entirely based on Andrea Martin's grandma. She is playing her grandma. And this Perini is her grandma's name. She is literally, so that's an interesting wrinkle here. Let's watch this. This woman is a great woman. We all need to give her a little bit more respect and credit. Andrea Martin, born on this day. Here she is from Second City, SCTV.
Hello, welcome to English for Beginners. I am your instructor, Lucille Hitzker, and today my guest is Perini Scleroso. Hello.
Hello.
Come in.
Coi.
Come in.
Coi.
Come in.
Coi.
Come in.
Coi.
I just for a moment, I just need to say that I won't interrupt the flow because these are 2 masters of this in their youth, in their prime, these are 2 absolute comedic masters.
Coi.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Ha-ha. Sit down.
Sit down.
Yeah.
Now we will begin with a few simple phrases.
No biggie fussy fray.
No, you don't have to say that.
No voodoo essay there.
I am from out of town.
Am I from town?
I am from out of town.
Am from out town.
Can you direct me to the hotel?
Kanu itarahaw mi tunaloto.
Can you direct me to the hotel?
Kanu itarahaw mi tunaloto.
All right, that's enough. We don't need to do the whole sketch, but God, she's great. I love her. When my son was very little, there was a show on Nickelodeon or something. It was a kids show during, they played kids shows during the day. So my son was like 3 or 4 years old, and there was a show called Dan and the Dinosaurs, or Dinosaur Dan or something. It was about a kid in school who could see dinosaurs. Like he'd look out in the yard, he'd look out in the schoolyard, and there'd be dinosaurs running around, and he had dinosaur friends, and he was the only person that could see him. Dan and the Dinosaurs. It was a CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Company show. And his teacher was Andrea Martin. And I'm like, this is when I really got hot. Because I'm watching this. Why is Andrea Martin doing some children's offshoot CBC show playing a teacher. I don't know. I just love Andrea Martin. Born on this day in 1947. Also, if you're from Chicago, for about 10 years, she was the pitchman, the commercial lady for First Metropolitan Builders. Born on this day in 1953, here's a Dallas-Fort Worth legend. A man that I've met on numerous occasions, and I got to tell you, you say the Superman without his cape, Superman's always wearing his cape in this man's case. He's a gentleman. He is exactly who you want him to be. He is the great and powerful Randy White. Randy White, born on this day in 1953. We used to have a deal with Randy White Barbecue, so Randy used to come in. He's awesome. He is what you want him to be. Randy White, Cowboys legend, born on this day in 1953. Happy birthday. What was Animal Gang? I get it confused with Dan Hampton because Dan Hampton of the Bears was Danimal. The Manster. What, the Manster? Was he the Manster? Is that Randy White? Look, Danimal is better, okay? Dan Hampton's Danimal is better, but whatever Randy White was, it was cool too. It was cool. Born on this day in 1953. Born on this day in 1971, Regina King. Hey, you should do more stuff, Regina King. She is everywhere. Born on this day in 1979, Drew Brees. Drew Brees. Did you get that thing? Look that. I know we're not supposed to say anything, right? We're supposed to be like, Drew Brees. I'm always distracted by that thing. He's got a thing. He's got a mole. He's got a mole. And I'm thinking he made enough money to get it removed. If it's something that can be removed, I don't know if it can be removed, or he might just be like, hey, man, this is me, and I don't need to change it to please you or what your idea of what, superficial beauty is, which in that case, I'd be like, cool, okay, I dig that. Good answer, Drew Brees. But short of that answer, I wonder why he's just kind of got it. Do you think hairs grow on it? Does Drew Brees have is a part of Drew Brees's manscaping or hygiene ritual to get tweezers and make sure that thing doesn't have like black hairs growing out of it? I'm wondering if that's happy birthday, Drew Brees. Short guy, good quarterback. Overrated though. I'm sorry. It's like Drew Brees is the one everybody forgets and they got to cram him in. When they're talking about the great quarterbacks. You got Peyton Manning and Patrick Mahomes. You can't forget about Brady. Those are the three. It's like nobody else is even in that class. And then somebody will be like, Drew Brees. And then they'll go, oh, yeah, I guess we got to make room for Drew Brees. I guess statistically. God, Drew Brees was not as good as people think. History is going to make him out to be. Drew Brees, you were guaranteed to win with Drew Brees. I'll give you his numbers are incredible. His numbers are incredible. But it's like if you lined up every quarterback from the last 20 years, 25 years, say 25, every quarterback for the last 25 years of the NFL, and they said to you, pick one for your team in their prime, go. None of you are picking Drew Brees, even with your third pick. You're just not. You're going with Elway and Peyton and Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, maybe Lamar or Josh. I don't know. You ain't picking Drew Brees. Overrated. There he goes. But it's his birthday. He's like a glorified backup. Oh, my God. Did I really just say that about Drew Brees? A glorified backup. He's not a glorified backup. He's a great quarterback, Drew Brees. Overrated. Overrated. Not so overrated. Here's an American football player who's exciting to watch with the ball in his hand. Happy birthday, born on this day in 1996, Deebo Samuel. Deebo. Is that his real name? Is Deebo short for something? I mean, look, I don't put it past the modern black athlete to actually have Deebo on the damn birth certificate. Let me see. It's a nickname. Cool. Yeah, he's got a cool name. All right, he's got a cool name. His actual birth certificate is Tyshawn Raekwon Samuel Sr. Nope, no such thing as a senior, you fucking... There's no such thing as a senior, Deebo. Oh, we're going to have to get into this. His Wikipedia page is rocking a senior. What has your son done? What has your son accomplished in life that you need to be differentiated from him? Do you even have a son named Tyshawn Raekwon Jr.? Because if you don't, then what are you doing? You don't just get to be the senior because you're the first of your name. That's not. Is that what he's thinking? Does he have kids? Hold on. Let's get into Deebo Samuel's personal life. Why? God, I never thought I'd say that sentence. But here we are. Let's see. What's going on with him? Personal life. Does he got kids? Samuel was given the nickname Deebo by his father, Galen. Okay. After the character Deebo played by Tiny Lister Jr. in the movie Friday. Fun. That's a fun fact. That's all we got. That's all we got. He's not married. Doesn't say anything about kids. This motherfucker doesn't even have kids. And he's walking around. I'm a senior. I'll survive this. It's just irritating. As a third, I'm a third, okay? I'm a third, all right? My dad was a junior. His dad was a senior. Senior, junior. Yeah. I take these things very seriously is my point. All right, here we go. Let's see. What else? Deebo Samuel, born on this day in 1996. Happy birthday, Deebo Samuel. Despite it all, we're going to give you a happy birthday shout out. All right, let's do the deads. These are people who passed away on this day. We're going to decide if they went to heaven or hell. Deads. Dead on this day in the year... we're going to do the deads. Where are the deads? There are the deads. Here you go. All right, dead on this day, 1987. This is a freaking bummer. This is a bummer. His birthday was 2 days ago. He was in the birthday segment 2 days ago, and now here he is. He died 2 days after his birthday. Ladies and gentlemen, dead on this day in 1987, Ray Bolger. Remember Ray Bolger? I kind of took a shit on him because all he ever did with his career was the Scarecrow, and that's sort of been his meal ticket the whole time. Ray Bolger, the Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz, dead on this day in 1987. All right, so whether he went to heaven or hell, I'm going to base entirely on how I feel about the Scarecrow. Deal? Deal. I don't know anything about Ray Bolger. I don't know if he molested kids or got DUIs or, I don't know, maybe he worked with blind children. I don't know what he did, so I can't let that factor into. So all I know is the Scarecrow. So let's put the Scarecrow in heaven or hell. Where did the Scarecrow go? What did the Scarecrow want? Lion wanted courage. Scarecrow wanted a brain? Okay, thirst for knowledge. That's good. That's a positive. Thirst for knowledge, a brain. What did he do? Did he do anything crappy? A witch set him on fire. That made me feel bad for him. Remember when the witch set the Scarecrow on fire? That was, seeing that at like 5, I'm like, whoa. Whoa, it like burned half his arm off, his hay arm. All right, heaven. We're going to put Ray Bolger in heaven. There you go. The Scarecrow goes to heaven. You know who doesn't go to heaven from that group? The Lion. The Lion doesn't go to heaven. Oh, you know what else? I don't think the Tin Man goes to heaven. What do you mean you want a heart? What is this just an excuse for a lifetime of being selfish? Have you just been like a thoughtless dick to everybody your whole life and now you're like, well, I want a heart. I want to be better now. No, none of that jailhouse. Tin Man goes to hell. Tin Man goes to hell. He wants a heart because obviously he's been a dick his entire life. Now, the Lion. This is one that I've always struggled with. What do you mean you want courage? You're a coward. So you're just a sniveling, crying coward. That's what you're admitting. You are a coward. Get out of here. Lion's a coward. Ray Bolger, the Scarecrow, he goes to heaven. Dead on this day in 1987. Dead on this day in the year 2017. How about Jimmy Superfly Snuka? Superfly. I got to believe Snuka went to hell, right? Snuka did some things. Snuka was involved in some... Let me click on... All right, here you go. This is on Wikipedia's birthday. This is where Wikipedia comes in handy. Let's jump into Jimmy Superfly Snuka's Wikipedia page. See if we can find anything front and center that'll tell us whether or not he should go to heaven or hell. For some reason, I think he did things. Oh, yeah. There you go. When you've got an entire section on your Wikipedia page dedicated to a death and murder that you have been alleged to have been a part of. All right, let's see what this is. On May 10th, 1983, a few hours after defeating Jose Estrada at WWF television taping at the Lehigh County Agriculture Hall in Allentown, Pennsylvania, Snuka placed a call for an ambulance. When the emergency personnel arrived at his room at the George Washington Motor Lodge, oh my God, the glamorous life of professional wrestling. Going back, you watch these guys on TV and then they go back to some motor lodge in Allentown, Pennsylvania. All right, so emergency personnel arrived at his room at a motor lodge. They found that his girlfriend and mistress, Nancy Argentino, had been injured. She was transported to Allentown Sacred Heart Medical Center, where she died shortly after an undetermined craniocerebral. All right, so she got her head bashed in. She died of craniocerebral injuries. The coroner's report stated that Argentino, 23, died of traumatic brain injuries consistent with a moving head strike. Autopsy findings showed that Argentino had more than 24 cuts and bruises, possible sign of serious domestic abuse. All right, so there you go. Superfly Snuka. I don't think we need to waste any more time here. Sounds to me like he was, involved in some stuff that isn't going to get you into heaven. I'm just sorry. Let's go. 2018. We've got another death. This one hurts. I hate this one. This one sucks. I'm putting her in heaven. She's an angel. She is an angel. One of my favorite singers of all time. Oh, the first time I heard her voice, I remember thinking, this is a pop formatted singer who has Sinead O'Connor level talent as far as a vocalist, and that is Dolores O'Riordan. Dolores O'Riordan, as she was called in America, Dolores, as she's known in Ireland, because that's how you pronounce Dolores. It's a very common name there, but it's Dolores. Dolores O'Riordan was the lead singer of the Cranberries. Maybe you remember Zombie, 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 ha, ha, ho. She was incredible. I saw the Cranberries. On a show where they were one of like 10 bands back before they popped. But then I saw her solo as a solo artist. She is incredible. Here, let me show you her if you don't remember who she is. Let's go to her page. Nope, that's not what we want. Hold on. We'll talk a little bit about how she died and whether or not, I put her in heaven. So there is no drama there, right? Yeah, there she is. All right, here you go. All right, that's Dolores O'Riordan, lead singer of the Cranberries. They were a terrific band, but above and beyond that, she was just an amazing vocalist, one of the great vocalists of all time. There she is. There she is. There she is. Look at her right there. Oh, very contemplative. That's the tour I saw her on. It was an acoustic tour. Dolores tour. It was just her and a dude with a guitar, and it was amazing. She's an amazing singer. There she is in her more punky rockin' days. There she is singing. There she is singing. There she is. Oh, this is where she's buried. Look at that. That's her hometown. Boop. There's her family grave. Some stuff from her. There she is right there. Okay, so Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries. She's got a number of hits. Zombie is probably the timeless one. I think that song's pretty much a classic at this point. The curse of the Irish. She was a drinker. She was a big drinker. She was a terrible, terrible drinker. She was a drinker. And she died when she drowned in her bathtub because she was drinking. People thought drugs. No, Dolores wasn't a druggie. Dolores liked straight vodka, and she drank straight vodka from the bottle. She never got in trouble. She wasn't like sloppy where she'd get picked up by police and all of that. But everybody who knew her knew that she was always drunk. And it was just a very sad thing. So there you have it. Anyway, I'm putting her in heaven because I love her deeply. And I think she's incredibly talented. And it was such an incredible waste to within like 2 years to have lost both Sinead and Dolores to completely preventable things. Incredible singers. Angels, both. All right, that's going to do it. Those are the first of our 4 quarters. The first 3 are in the books. This is, of course, The Rant. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every day around about noon. Today we're getting started a little bit later. Time for us now to get into all our hot topics and our current events and all that kind of stuff. But it is a reminder to you all that this show does run on your gratuities. If you want to tip the show, keep it going. No advertisers, nothing like that. I do it for free. Love of the game and whatnot. Drop a little something in either the Cash App or the Venmo. It'd be greatly appreciated. Okay, quarter four, all the things that are happening in the world. Let's talk about this. The big story, and I can't, I don't know how much of this I'm going to be able to talk about because I didn't get to see it all. I just had to skim it, but there is a deal as far as hostages in the Israel-Hamas situation. There's American hostages over there too. So we do have some skin in the game, if you will. Hamas has approved a Gaza ceasefire and a hostage agreement. This after 2.5 years. I mean, what was it? 7th, right? It's October 7th? October 7th, 2 years ago, I think it was, when Hamas invaded Israel and took a whole bunch of hostages and all that good stuff. Yeah. Okay, so it's been a while. And Gaza's been a city under siege. And what are we dealing with here? We're dealing with 94 people. 81 of them are men, 13 of them are women. 2 of them are under 5 years old. 2 under 5 years old. So this is going to play out over the course of 6 weeks, I believe. Biden's already made his speech about it. The Qatari minister has already made his speech. See, you got to understand, this has got to play to 2 sides of the world. On our side of the world, it's Biden coming out. And he's like, da, 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 da. And of course, Israel, they got to play to theirs. But the other side of the world has got to come from the Qataris. And the Qataris were the ones that were sort of playing the role of mediator in this whole thing. And so the Qataris made their statement. Then Biden came out and made his statement. It's a real thing. Looks like the hostages are going to be released throughout the course of a 6-week period where certain checks and balances have to be met and maintained. But okay, so this is very good news. I wish I had more of an opinion on it. I don't know what the details are. Let's talk about the fire. Let's move on to California. The other big story of the day, California is still on fire. California is burning to the very ground. The Santa Ana winds are kicking up these past couple of days, beginning last night. I believe the wind warnings, let me see what's going on with the wind warnings. Hold on. I believe the wind warnings are still in effect until tonight when they think they're going to. You know what? I'm just going to shut up because I'm not even sure about that now. That's like news from a week ago or from like a day ago. Let's see what the new. All right, let's go over. Let's check it out. Here's the map. Let's see what fires are burning, at least insofar as Google is concerned. Here we go. Okay. Long Beach and Irving. All right. So right now I don't see any fires. But that's just because I know there's a lot of fires, don't get me wrong, but Google likes to put them on the map, and it takes a little while for them to pop up. All right, maybe I need to go in more. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we've got the Auto fire, the Hearst fire, the Eaton fire, the Palace. There they all are now. All right, so this is the new one, Auto fire. This is over the valley. This is a valley. Oh, Jesus, how do I explain this? Well, I don't need to. So these are hills, and on the other side of the hill, the fire has now crept. So the fire has climbed the hill. This is in Oxnard. This is in Ventura, Oxnard, Ventura. It's being called the Auto fire. Let's see, what is the impacted areas are approximate, provided for it doesn't have any information on where it is in the fire. Sometimes it has those kinds of informations. Those kinds of informations, said the moron. Okay. All right, let's go back up now. Let's see. You know what? No, we don't need the map anymore. Let's see. Number is still 24 or 25, depending on who's reporting it. I've seen that number of casualties. The money for rebuild, again, $200 billion for Palisades alone, ladies and gentlemen. Palisades alone. $200 billion. That's insane. Again, no insurance company is going to be able to pick that up. I want to play this for you. This is Bill Burr. Bill Burr was trending this morning. He went on Jimmy Kimmel last night. Bill Burr had to be, he had to rush his family away from the fire. So Bill Burr's got some hot takes, and he was very interesting. This was last night on the Jimmy Kimmel show. Bill Burr talking about the fire, his fire experience, what he thinks this is all about. I will tell you just out of the box that, Well, I think anybody who watches this show every day for the past 3 years, I'm a Bill Burr fan. I like Bill. I think Bill's a spokesperson for the way the average middle class working guy feels when he sees all of this nonsense and bullshit. I would also like to apply that Bill Burr is all of that. Also, a thoughtful and smart guy, right? So that all of those things while also being thoughtful and smart. That's always what I sort of appreciate about Bill Burr's worldview today in 20. This is new too. This is Bill Burr, the star. For the past 15 years, we've all known Bill Burr, the comedian. We're all like, he's funny comedian. Bill Burr's a star now. It's a different kind of thing. He's taking these shots and offering these opinions on the world as he sees it from a different perch in 2025. In other words, Bill Burr was never a guest on talk shows before, right? But now he's doing movies and all this. So I love Bill Burr. Here he is talking about the fires and his family's experience in the fires last night on Kimmel.
You know about helicopters because I remember, and it's interesting now thinking about it, because you said that
about it. I know about the one that I fly. Other than that, I don't know anything about it.
You know
but
something
if you're on
about
the internet, you know everything.
I hope you know about it because you said that you got your pilot's license in case like all hell broke loose in L.A., you could get out of L.A. And at any moment, did you think, I'm going to make a run for that helicopter?
Well, the error in my thought was I didn't realize how expensive helicopters were. So all I have is a two-seater, and I didn't want to have to make Sophie's choice with my family. So, we all piled into the SUV like everybody else. But no, man, these guys were out there clearing the trees, getting the wires back up and everything. It was like the perfect awful thing that could have happened, and it did. And I love how all the chatter out there is about bands of illegal immigrants and homeless people lighting fires. They light fires every day. They're living outside. They're cold. And this theory that some homeless guy without a car went from Altadena all the way to the Pacific Palisades, and then we have a hang glider. And they're talking about looting, but CNN and Fox News are not going to bring up the insurance companies that are just going to keep everybody's premiums and still give themselves a bonus. Yeah. Yes. Free Luigi. I love how they acted surprised. Why did that happen? I have no idea. He wrote on the bullets why it happened.
Oh, we're back to Luigi. Okay, yeah.
I never left Luigi.
All right, there you have it. Very provocative, very fearless view to be sharing on late night national network television. Free Luigi, says Bill Burr. He does raise a point, though, that I've been saying since the beginning. The insurance companies aren't going to be able to pay everybody for this. This is going to, you think they're going to allow themselves to go bankrupt? No. This is, at some point, this is all going to come out of our pockets. It's because the insurance companies are going to be like, yeah, we can't do it. Too big to fail, But they weren't too big to collect all them premiums and then give everybody gigantic bonuses every year. Hey, we made way more than we expected because we didn't have to pay off on everything that we should have. There's a rage. We are in a moment in time where the whole concept of insurance and the insurance industry, as we know it in America, is a goddamn tinderbox. No pun intended. That's real. All right, what else? Adam says that Bill Burr is going to do a benefit for who? You're going to do it for fire victims? A lot of benefits coming. I actually have a story on that here. Well, why not? Fire aid, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of benefits, you knew that. Well, it ain't a real serious thing. This is it. This is how you differentiate between just regular, everyday, horrifying natural disasters and shit that's going to change things for a long time, right? This is how you do it. Did they have an all-star concert for it? If they didn't have an all-star concert for it, then I'm sorry. I know Florida, North Carolina. I know you guys got your asses kicked, but honestly, it's just hurricane and tornadoes, and it happens every year. You people live there, and it's not like you had nice shit. Shut up. 9/11? Oh, yeah. Free concert for 9/11. See, that's how we knew That's how we knew that was important. Fires. These fires are LA riots. Remember, there's a concert for the riots. Everybody gets riots. There's riots in every city in America at some point. They didn't all get concerts. LA got the concert. So we're going to have this one. Fire Aid. Fire Aid is a concert being put together by music mogul Irving Azoff. Irving Azoff, one of the most important, most storied individuals in the history of American popular music as both a promoter, manager, and record company executive. He's done it all, Azoff. Here's what he says. Music mogul Irving Azoff sets a January 30th date for Fire Aid, which will be a mega concert in LA. Concert will feature, and these are the, oh, no, you can't. You can't. Well, or can you? I don't know. I'd have to think of this. Is this band not allowed to play because of their name? Or is it absolutely important that this band plays because of their name? I don't know. So here are some of the big names that Irving Azoff going to be trotting out. Fire Aid, January 30th, will feature, among others, the Eagles, Harry Styles, and Earth, Wind, and Fire. I don't know. Right? That's what I mean. Does Earth, Wind, and Fire, are they not allowed to play because of that name? Because it's just way too, or is it absolutely a must that we have to get Earth, Wind? I don't know. I don't understand people. Record companies aren't having their parties, but Grammy weekend just got a jolt. Music mogul Irving Azoff is organizing a mega concert called Fire Aid on January 30th at LA's Intuit Dome. Did something get renamed January? What is the Intuit Dome? I know it's not the Staples Center anymore. And I know what SoFi Stadium is. And I don't know what the Intuit Dome is. I'm sorry. I don't know where this is. It's not the Greek Theater. I know the Hollywood Bowl. I don't know what this theater is. Anyway, I know what the LA Live is. That's the thing that's down there on Flower Street, I think. I know the Disney Center. The Disney Center is also right there downtown. I don't know what the Intuit Dome is. Maybe it's the Staples Center. I don't know. It says this should be done along the lines of the concert from New York that was held after 9/11. Fire Aid is going to raise money for wildfire relief charities. The show will be produced along with Live Nation. Irving Azoff, these are some of the bands that haven't been announced yet, but since he manages them, Irving Azoff represents groups like the Eagles, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Fleetwood Mac, Steely Dan, Maroon 5, and more. Whereas his son, working under him, manages Harry Styles. Their wide range of artists, former artists, and collaborations stretches to U2. All right, we get it. He's very well connected. We know he's very well connected. All right. Details haven't been announced yet, but they're coming fast. Ticket prices should be high. LA has to raise a lot of money. Good on Azoff for taking this on, says Showbiz 411. Okay, Fire Aid coming. All right, it's how we know it's big. It's how we know it's big. Apparently, it's also very optimistic because they certainly believe they're going to survive till the 30th. I don't know. Some of the shit that I've seen, I don't know that I've been making plans much further apart than my next breath. LA is going through some stuff. Here, how about this? Is this a story about homeowners? Okay. I'm not going to give you the full story. This is where we're at here. There are people who live in the Palisades and people who live in Altadena and people who live in Pasadena whose entire neighborhoods have been wiped out by these fires. Now, this is their entire lives. They've got things there, whether they're going to rebuild. I don't know what their story is, but they are not being given in and out rights to their property by police because they're trying to keep, I don't know what bureaucracy is doing. Stop it, cops. Let me go to my house, right? So what people in all of these neighborhoods have done is they're not leaving their homes. They've created these camp cities in front of their homes, in these neighborhoods, in these neighbors, people who've never spoken to each other. And I hate to make it sound like I'm trying to find something good in this otherwise horrible situation. They're circling the wagons, for lack of a better term. There are posses that have been established. Think about this. Pacific Palisades California. I told you yesterday, when you're thinking of the Pacific Palisades, to think about the television shows that depicted what life was like there. Think about Modern Family. The Pacific Palisades is where the Dumfries lived, okay? It's where Cam lived, okay? So now again, think that block is wiped out. The people who live there are intense because they won't leave because there's no guarantee that the police are going to let them back in. Supplies are being smuggled in from the outside. There's a story. I'm reading this from the Wall Street Journal. There's a story. The reporter from the Wall Street Journal sat there and watched as a woman brought supplies for people in this neighborhood who were not leaving their home. And the police officer who was guarding the entrance was on the phone with like some higher up. And as the woman pulled up with the supplies, this is according to the Wall Street Journal reporter, as the woman showed up with replies, the police officer sort of muffed the phone, so that the person he was talking to couldn't hear. And he told the woman, put those supplies on the other side of this line right now, because after that, I'm not allowed to let any more supplies in. So for some reason, the police are being told not to allow people from the outside to supply the homesteaders. And that's what they are. They're essentially homesteaders who are trying to protect their shit from the fear of looting or new fires or arsonists coming in to try and start. I mean, it really is kind of a cool ass thing, man. Here we are 15 days into January. Do you think any of these people, do you think any of the Modern Family characters who I want you to imagine when you're thinking of the people here, do you think any of the Modern Family characters on January 1st, on New Year's Day or on Christmas, do you think they thought 15 days later that they'd be living like this, the Old West, almost like a Deadwood type existence? It's crazy. It's amazing. Anyway, that's in the Wall Street Journal today. Story about how neighborhoods have formed posses and they are sort of armed. No, did I not? I mean, they're armed. I know it's California. They everybody's got guns. No, they got guns. California's got a lot of guns. They're armed, and it's just again, I want you to picture the cast of Saved by the Bell. Remember, this is the neighborhood from Saved by the Bell and Modern Family. So those are the people that are being reduced to this kind of existence. One last thing that I did want to talk about, which was this fascinating. I love me some social media misinformation. It's pretty much what social media is all about. But have you seen this going around? Here, it's this story of an entire. So it depends on who's sharing it. I've seen it with thousands and thousands of retweets with two different tags on it, right? So like one of the retweets that you see is this house is this person who lives in this house prays every day and goes to church and is a Christian and blah blah blah, and that's why the house survived because God did it, right? So other Christians, they see that and they're like, that's proof that I'm not wasting my life. I'm gonna forward that, and it's got thousands of forwards of people who see a picture of a house from an aerial view, a satellite view of a picture of a house that is completely untouched while everything else is burnt out, and it's because they're Christian. So that's the one that's going around. That one's pretty easily dismissible. The other one is the more Q-themed one, where it's the very same picture, and this time it says, this person didn't have a digital gas gauge on their home, and their house survived. Like, the implication is that there's some, I don't know. The implication is that the lizard people blew up the houses of all the people who had these it's just whatever it is, that became a thing. So I got interested in that story. I'm like, that is weird. Well, I mean, look, it turns out that house is not real. Okay, the picture is a complete fake. You see on the right here, that's the picture that went around. See the red roof, everything else is burned out. That's the Christian's house. Or depending on who you saw it from, that's the house of the person who didn't have the digital government mandated thing, whatever, right? No, not true. That is a digital image. It is an AI image. And apparently, I don't know how to do this, but in this article, it says what it is. You can just like search the image, and the first thing that comes up is that it says this image has been digitally altered. It is AI created. All right. So there you have it. There you go. So there aren't any lone houses spared by God, or because there's some I know Barney and Byron and all you guys want to believe government's putting bombs on people's houses, blow them up. What? I know that's kind of fun. Be a fun thing those are not true. Okay. There are no neighborhoods where this house was completely spared. Yes, there are some houses that weren't completely razed, but they weren't totally spared. Okay. The house blew up because it's a terrible, terrible thing that's happening because of Mother Nature. Okay? I don't know. Is it about man's relationship to Mother Nature? I don't know. Shut up. Here's what I do know. It's the same thing that I've been saying the whole time. This was a situation that apparently people have been talking about for decades about how there's a reason that there's so many of these undeveloped canyons in Southern California. It's because it was always believed that you needed to have these areas for these brush fires to burn so that you could control them and keep them away from the more populated areas. But over the years, because of our greed and our consumption and our never-ending thirst for expansion, all of these things, these areas in Southern California have been developed into house. So now this perfect storm, which they said was going to happen. If you start building here and you start doing this here, here's what's going to happen. These people are going to have their entire lives wiped away someday. And then the people who were listening to that probably went, ha, ha, ha. Is that before or after California completely slides into the ocean? They've been saying that forever. That stuff will never happen. Well, it happened. And they were completely failed. The people of California have been completely failed on every level of government. Not by the fire department. I don't blame the fire department. I don't blame the police. I'm not blaming any of these people who have been working round the clock for 8 days now. These are the working men and women who are forced to deal with the situation thrust upon them by a bunch of bureaucrats and politicians who gave no shits about the warnings. It's not a political rant. We're talking about politicians. It's not a partisan rant, I guess is what I should say. Although the hot potato stopped. Wait, was it the hot potato? What's musical chairs? The music stopped. The music stopped while a whole bunch of Democrats were talking about how there's more important things to be spending money on than this. You got a fire department there that doesn't have water, that is the most understaffed and underfunded major department in the world. Did you guys see that last night? CNN, they did this whole thing, this investigation into the Los Angeles Police Department or Fire Department, and they compared the Los Angeles Fire Department to all the other world's major cities, different cities that if a tragedy were to occur, who would be? Los Angeles finished dead last. They weren't prepared at all. A city that catches fire every couple of months wasn't prepared at all. No water, no nothing. So, yeah, heads better roll. That's what I'm saying. God love them. More wins coming today. All right, let's talk about what's going on with Trump's cabinet. All right, we don't say that name much. We don't say any political people's names. We don't like to do that, but we do. We are upon the precipice of a new administration coming into Washington. So we're putting people in the big chairs. The cabinet is being filled out right now. What are we looking at? Yesterday we had Hegseth. All right, so here's my takeaway on Hegseth. If you listened yesterday, you know my thoughts on Hegseth. I don't want to be friends with him. He seems like a dick. If I'm being honest, he seems like just a guy that would make me go, Pete Hegseth seems like a guy that if I had a beer with him, at some point I would go, oh, brother. Like, he just seems like he would create that kind of response from me on something. This guy. All right, so I don't like him. Don't like him at all. Handsome asshole. I've never liked the handsome asshole. But some of you are like, I want the handsome asshole to like me, so I'm going to be friends with the handsome asshole. Mansion on the Hill. Fanboy. That's what you are. Pete Hegseth wouldn't like you. Pete Hegseth is like a snob. You can't tell that? He's an asshole. He's mean. That said, I'm totally fine with him being defense secretary because that's who I want. I want somebody in that chair who the rest of the world is going to be like, ugh, I don't want to talk to that guy. He's an asshole. I want that. We're the world's most powerful nation. We have been walked all over for decades by diplomats and secretaries of this or that who have been like, well, that's not the nice thing to do. Well, okay, we'll help you with that. That has been our way. Our way has been wishy-washy. Our way has been pussy. And I really do feel like we're on the precipice of a new age in this world. And if we don't get tough, even if it's just posturing, I mean, I'm a bit of a hawk. I think that the United States military is the big best toy that we've got in our playroom. And again, I always say, look, the ship has sailed. We could be smart. We could be healthy. We could be safe, right? But we didn't spend our money on those things. We spent our money on bombs and planes. And so now we're stupid, unhealthy, and scared. So let's go. This is where we are. It's the bed we've made. I am not now going to be someone who goes, what? So now we're going to be stupid, scared, broke. We're also broke, right? Are we broke? We're not broke. I think that's... Point is this. Secretary of Defense is, I think, for the most part, a very... It's a position where you can have a Johnny Bravo. It's a position in the cabinet where I think, because, there's so many generals and really smart dudes running things and planning missions and all of that inside the Pentagon. I'm not worried about the guy who's the symbolic leader of it all, the secretary. I'm not worried about that guy. I'm not worried about him. I just think that tough kind of alpha thing is good for our military. And look, he's completely the people. The big knock on him were what? That he drinks, that he womanizes. So what? So what? Would you stop with this litmus test again? I say, let's do that with MacArthur. Let's do that with Patton. Let's do that with Eisenhower. Or we may as well not do that with Eisenhower because we already know that Eisenhower was a womanizer. Let's not let Eisenhower win World War II because he's not cool with women. Stop it. Stop it, man. There have been assholes in positions of power for years and years and years. People who have been bad people have held a lot of influence over the world representing the United States. And I'm not going to say we're fine because look at where we are right now. But we're fine. Compare us to Gaza. Compare us to the Ukraine. Compare us to, we're fine. We're fine. It's not as bad as we think. It's really not. I mean, we're Americans, man. All right, so that's enough. That's him. That's drunky, handsome, prep school, asshole, jerk off. That's him. That's Hegseth. I'm fine with him being there. The other two positions are extremely important, okay? Now, those are the other two that we're hearing about today. We got Rubio over there. Rubio wants to be Secretary of State. He's going through his first stage of confirmations. And then, of course, you got this Pam Biondi. She's the Florida Attorney General, some shit. She's now going to be, she's up for the American Attorney General. She's the American Attorney General. Okay, all right, so look. So Pam Biondi, how she got here, genius. I believe, and I said this a month ago. I said this on the day it was first announced. Trump is a great negotiator. He really is. I mean, look, give him credit for this, right? I don't give him credit for anything because I think he's an absolutely abominable human being, but he's a good negotiator. And there's certain tricks. And what I said on the day that Matt Gaetz was announced as his pick for Attorney General, if you remember, I said he don't want Gaetz to be his Attorney General. He's just going to float Gaetz to these people so that they can all freak out. He'll put up a little bit of a fight for Gaetz, and then he'll let them win. And then he'll introduce the person he wanted all along, and they will approve this person because it's not Matt Gaetz. That's what I said a month ago. That's who Pam Biondi is. Come on down, Pam Biondi. He wanted Pam Biondi all along. He just didn't want her to go through an extreme, crazy fight. So he softened them up by giving them Matt Gaetz. And they got all of their aggression out on Matt Gaetz. And then Pam Biondi comes in. And Pam Biondi, they're like, well, okay, it's not Matt Gaetz. And she's going to be fine. She's going to be fine. Or she's going to make it, I should say. I don't know if she's going to be a fine attorney general. I know nothing about her. Neither do you. I mean, unless you've been prosecuted by the state of Florida, I can't imagine you know anything more than just, the glossy Fox profile that maybe has been on her recently. You don't know anything about her. But here's the other thing. You haven't known anything about any attorney. I haven't known anything about any attorney general nominee. We don't know these people. We're not experts. We're just on the sideline watching. We have no idea if these people are qualified. We don't. Now, look, if there's a random former aide to a senator or something listening right now, they might know more. They might, because they understand how the sauce. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know if Pam Biondi's got the. I don't know. That's why they have these hearings. These other senators and stuff, they supposedly know. So Pam Biondi. Here's my observation. You want to know my observation on Pam Biondi? How are we going to have a hot attorney general? How? Never in a million years did I think that I would be sexually attracted to the attorney general of the United States. And yet here I am. Here I am. Looking at Pam Biondi going, yeah, it's not bad. Good looking woman. That's the only reason. Trump doesn't hire ugly women. He doesn't. And, he's kind of unapologetic about it. I think he doesn't hire ugly women. He hires all of his lawyers are like fembots. That's fun. Pam Biondi. All right, so now let's go to Rubio. Attorney General is a very important one, right? Remember, I kind of discounted Secretary of Defense because, in my opinion, those big decisions that he would be, crucial to are typically not one guy decisions. They're Pentagon decisions. They are general decisions. They are, crowdsourced, if you will, in the situation room in the moments when these things are happening. So I don't really worry about the Secretary of Defense. Again, this information comes because I've recently engaged in a full-blown rewatch of West Wing. I think I know. I know how Bartlett marginalized his Secretary of Defense. So Pam Biondi is the Attorney General. That's the number one slot. If you ask me, actually, there's 1 and 1A. As far as like the cabinet positions, whenever a president comes in and he's got his new cabinet positions, there is 1 and 1A. It's just like a head coach. If the president is the head coach of your football team, he's going to have a whole bunch of coaches on his staff, but there's only 2 that you care about: offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. And those are the roles of the Attorney General and the Secretary of State. That's essentially your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator. So that's who we're dealing with today. We got Pam Biondi, Hottie McToddy. She's going to be up for the Attorney General. She's probably going to smooth sailing. And Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. Marco Rubio, longtime senator from Florida. I've got no problem with the idea of Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. He seems like a reason. I know. People like Marco Rubio has done what he's needed to, just from my observation of him. He's done what he's needed to do at every turn. He caught some strays very early on, got a nickname, Little Marco, and all of that. But then without completely prostituting himself, he has sort of remained viable and a legitimate person that is still taken seriously, when a lot of the other people, that were in that crowd are not taken seriously anymore. Nobody takes Lindsey Graham seriously anymore. You don't. Nobody takes Tommy Tuberville seriously. They just know that he's a MAGA puppet. Marco Rubio has maintained, some. I'm just saying I like this pick. I think Marco Rubio is a good, legitimate, and responsible choice. It's a reasonable choice for someone to be offered up for what I think is ultimately the most important position in the cabinet, which is Secretary of State, which is essentially what the English call a home secretary, right? No, that's Attorney General. Foreign secretary. Anyway, all right, that's what's going on today. Hegseth probably going to get confirmed, and I'm fine with that. Although that is good red meat for like the libs and Democrats, because they're going to go nuts over that. Oh, they love that. Yeah, confirm Hegseth so we can be miserable. You know, that's what they like. It's like, like when Democrats name a black dude to the Supreme Court or something, like conservatives are like, he's not qualified. Or black woman, I should say. Whenever the Democrats, that's right, because they wouldn't do a black dude. Black dude, Dems don't give black dudes anything. Republicans do. Republicans are really good about making sure that they got, their Byrons and all their people, their Clarence Thomases and they got enough. They got enough. We're like black women, they got none of. Republicans got no black. You know what they got? They got Omarosa. That's what the Republicans think of women of color. But they got black dudes. They like black dudes. Herschel Walker, they got black dudes. Dems don't hire black dudes for anything. Trying to think. It's always got to be a black woman, right? It's like always, well, at least recently, within like the last 4 years, because certainly, Obama had Holder. I was high times in the Democratic Party for black dudes when Obama was president, because he had all black dudes. And that was good for them. But since then, no, it's all women. It's all women, all black women. Better if you're lesbian. Hell, you'll even get a nod over a black dude. White dudes, forget about it. There are no, let's not even talk about white dudes in the Democratic Party. They got Adam Schiff and they got super old Chuck Schumer, and that's basically it. And then they got a bunch of other, everybody else is a woman of color. This is a fun conversation. I don't know where it's going, so we're going to move on. All right. Musk is being sued by the SEC. This happened last night. It broke. Apparently, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, is saying that Elon Musk did not rightfully and properly divulge his influence with the board at Twitter while he was acquiring stocks and selling and doing. He's shady. I don't know what that stuff means. That was actually pretty good. What I just said there was pretty good, even though I got to a point where I'm like, you're out of bullshit. People are going to know with your next sentence that you don't know what you're talking. That's what just happened there. So I'm going to read this to you. I don't know anything about this. The SEC. Security and Exchange Commission sues Elon Musk, alleging failure to properly disclose Twitter ownership. The SEC Tuesday night filed a suit against Elon Musk, alleging the billionaire violated security law by acquiring Twitter shares at artificially low prices. It says here that Musk bought Twitter in 2022 for $44 billion. I thought that was like an embarrassingly high price. Now they're saying it's like criminally low. It was, okay, so the dude took shit for like 4 years or however long it's been. Dude's taking shit for 3 years for overpaying, and now he's going to be prosecuted for underpaying? I need to read on. The SEC on Tuesday filed a suit against Musk, alleging the billionaire violated securities law by acquiring Twitter shares at, quote, artificially low prices. Musk bought Twitter in 2022 for about $44 billion after changing the name to X. The SEC filed a lawsuit against Elon Musk on Tuesday, alleging the billionaire committed securities fraud by failing to disclose that he had amassed an active stake in Twitter, a secret that allowed him to buy shares at artificially low price. I don't know what any of this means. But it sounds like something that he can solve with a fine. Check. I'll move on. Does not sound big. All right, let's see here. What else do we got? The award shows. Yeah, the Fire Aid thing. They were talking about Grammy weekend. We're in award season in Hollywood, but Hollywood's on fire, so it would kind of be, I don't know, what's the word? Tone deaf for them to start throwing Hollywood red carpet celebrities while the streets are filled with gray smoke. So, so it looks like, now, here, I want to read this about the Oscars, because the Oscars are not, the Oscars aren't until March, right? But they're already now, they're like, Oscars threat. Oscars 2025 on the verge of being canceled as bosses secretly plot major changes to ceremony after LA wildfires cause last-minute changes. What do you mean last minute? It's not until March. We're not in the last minute yet. The Oscars award ceremony is on the verge of being canceled for the first time in its 96-year history because of the deadly wildfires that have devastated Los Angeles. The official Academy Awards Committee is monitoring the situation daily, with stars including Tom Hanks, Emma Stone, Meryl Streep, and Steven Spielberg said to be aware of the situation. Well, good. Well, good. This is all well and good, but is anybody keeping Emma Stone informed? When was the last time you spoke to Emma? Hollywood people are so weird. Why would the Academy? Anyway, who cares? Let's talk about the Village People in the Navy. Why did I go with that? That's like the fourth Village People song. Why did I go with In the Navy? I should have gone with YMCA or Macho Man. Village People are taking all kinds of shit. Village People are getting hammered by especially gay Twitter. Oh, gay Twitter is so angry at the Village People. The Village Peoples. They're very angry at the Village People. You're betraying us. Gay Twitter is screaming at the Village People. Why? Because the Village People are going to play Trump's inauguration. Yeah, well, and you would expect this because, you know, YMC or Butch. Which one? Which one of them super gay songs has MAGA completely taken as their anthem? Which one? I don't know. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that the Village People have been enjoying quite a bit of, for the last few months, like they haven't experienced in forever. So guess what? The Village People were asked to come play to an audience that isn't even enjoying them ironically. Do you understand what a new thing for the Village People this is? The Village People, I saw the Village People twice. I've seen the Village People twice. I saw the Village People in the late 1980s at the Willowbrook Ballroom. I'll never forget, I was at my buddy, the late, great Mike's house. Mike passed away. We were at Mike's house, and his dad was in the living room, and it was a bunch of teenagers, you know, me and his son. We were 21, 20, something like that, in college. And was it over? I think it was like over Christmas break or something. So we're in the living room, and we're hanging out, and we're making noise, and we're 20-year-olds, and Mike's dad didn't want to have anything to do with us. So he stood up. He took out $100 bill, like this was 1990 maybe, stood up, took out $100 bill, dropped it on the coffee table, and he said, "Take it and get the fuck out of here." And we were like, okay, we can go do something now. So there was no internet. There was nothing like that. So we didn't know what to do, but we had heard like on the radio that at this club, the Willowbrook Ballroom, which was this very nice, cool, giant ballroom in the woods on the south side of Chicago. The Willowbrook Ballroom was hosting the Village People. And we were like, let's get shit-faced and go see the Village People on your dad's money. Let's do it. Right? And you understand there's a carload of people who were, you know, not into the Village People, okay? It was not our thing, but we're going to go. Oh, we got so drunk. We had such a good time. We ended up on stage with the Village People. We were doing big guns. Remember the Oakland A's big guns thing? We were up on stage big gunning with the Village People. It was kind of sad. Again, this is 1990. This is a good 10 years past their expiration date. So they've been touring the country, you know, working the name, the Village People, playing these little clubs. I mean, this was not a little club. The Willowbrook Ballroom is a big room, and they probably made like 10 grand, right? So, but anyway, my point is this. It was kind of sad because there was only one guy who was a real Village People. I'm not even sure who it was. We didn't get Randy. Randy is like the super gay construction guy with the big mustache who was like everybody else in the Village People. You could be like, no, you know, it's just a dude dressed like an Indian. What are you talking about? There's a cop. He just looks like a black cop. You got a problem with the military's naval uniform? You calling that gay? I think he looks fine. But then you got the construction worker, and you're like, okay, all right. The construction worker, your gaydar, was like, he's wearing Daisy Dukes. You know, he's like, so anyway, They didn't even have a band. They had a boom box. Yeah. The Village People come out on stage and they got a big boom box and they put it down and it's through the amplifier and they hit it and it's playing recorded tracks of their music and they get out and they start doing their stuff. Oh, it was so much fun. Saw them again about 10 years later, completely new cast of characters, all new Village People. I believe there was a hobbit. I believe there was a surgeon, right? I'm like, hey, there's no surgeon in the Village People. I saw them at a charity event. That was a little bit more, high end. So they seemed they had a band that time, but it wasn't their band. I got the impression there was a band that was hired to play Village People music. So that was okay. But my point is this: the Village People have spent the last 40 years in celebrity purgatory. They're a novelty bit. People who go to see them and enjoy and have a good time, and I had a great time, go to see them ironically, the way me and my friends did back in 1990. And now for the very first time in like 50 years, people are honestly into their music and enjoying them. And they're able to charge for tickets. And yeah, all the MAGA blue hairs and all those people, they're all going to come out when next time they play the casino that's 50 miles from their hometown, because the Village People are now associated with MAGA. And you know what? If you expect them to be like, yeah, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to take all of this money after 40 years in entertainment obscurity, you're out of your mind. So now let's talk about gay Twitter, okay? I want the Village People to give one big fuck you to gay Twitter. You want to know why? Because yes, the Village People are gay icons in this country. They were the first obviously queer entertainment mechanism that exploded and proved that the American public really didn't care all that much. They were out there representing Greenwich Village. That's the Village. They were out there representing Greenwich Village at a time when the cops were staking out Greenwich Village. The cops were, you had the Stonewall situation a couple of years prior. Gay guys were being beat up. And now you've got the Village. They were there. They were there representing at a time when nobody else was, okay? There weren't gay people in 1980. There just weren't. I mean, I know there were, but you know what I mean? Okay, so that's who they are to you and your struggle, gay Twitter. But let's not kid ourselves. For the last 40 years, you've been embarrassed by them. They haven't been cool. Oh, the super gay America is the culture defining, that's it. If gay America embraces you, you've got a hit, whether it's fashion or music or food or any kind of culture. You know what gay America has done to the Village People? Turned them into a punchline. Didn't support them, didn't have their back, didn't just suddenly, re-embrace them. You could have even ironically re-embraced them and had them headline but you never did that. You never did them. You let them just kind of kick around in obscurity. And guess who picked them up and went, hey, you know what? Macho Man's a good song. Your arch enemy. One man's garbage, gay Twitter. All right, so there you go. Leave the Village People alone. Let them make their money. It's a bunch of 70-year-old dudes out there dancing. Actually, I don't know what the deal with the Village People now. I have no clue. What do they look like? Like, what are we? If it's a bunch of like 22-year-old guys, it's like, okay, so it's Menudo. That's what the Village People are now. Like one dude owns the brand and he's just gonna trot out, If there is a one dude, I hope it's Randy. I hope it's Randy, the super gay Daisy Duke wearing construction worker. Randy is the most important Village person. Because as I said, he's the one that you couldn't defend. If you were trying to be like, they're not gay, he is the one you couldn't defend. It's like, okay. All right, well, he is. All right, there you go. Village People taking some shit, but you know what? Good for them. Bad news for people who like terrible American whiskey. Jack Daniels is in the news. They got some big layoffs going on. Yeah, that's right. I called it terrible American whiskey. American whiskey is terrible. Just by and by, Americans do not know how to make whiskey. Canadians do. Canadian whiskey is real. No, American, not bourbon. What do you mean? You don't like bourbon? No, you can take your Wild Turkey, your Southern Comfort, your Jack Daniels, your Jim Beam, your garbage corn sweetened swill. Give me a fucking hangover every time. Every time. God damn, why does this shit give me a headache? It's all the corn syrup in there. It's all the... Nah, man, just give me a straight up Irish whiskey. There ain't nothing in there. It's just straight up bad stuff. Just shit that's gonna fuck you up. They ain't trying to sweeten it to make it taste better. What is this, Zima? I say all this. I am a complicated man. I say all this. One of my second favorite sipping whiskeys in the world is Gentleman Jack. Gentleman Jack is different than Jack Daniels. Gentleman Jack is it's good. That's good. Best thing American whiskey ever did was Gentleman Jack. I just don't like the sweetness. That's all I'm saying. I don't like the sweetness. Jack Daniels' parent company, Brown-Forman, is cutting its workforce and closing its barrel-making plant. This is going to what they sell? What is it? Japanese now making Jack Daniels? It's no longer in Lynchburg. Now suddenly it's in like Fujiyama. Excuse me. Spirits giant Brown and Forman said Tuesday it's reducing its global workforce by about 12% and closing its hometown barrel-making plant in Louisville. The cost-cutting moves come as American whiskey producers face stiff challenges from charging consumer trends and renewed tariff threats. The actions are projected to produce about $70 million to $80 million in annualized cost savings. Well, that's good. That's good that Jack Daniels and their executives are going to be saving money. It's sad for the people who are losing their jobs, but hey, man, you know what the mortgage is on a ski home in Vail? Sorry. All right, what else do we have here? An update from yesterday, and then we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna finish this show here. What do we have here? So yesterday I showed you the story of the Eagles fan. Remember the Eagles fan? Do we have the video? Let's see if we can show you the video. All right, you know what? We don't need to see it again because this guy doesn't need any. There we go. It's this guy. Here you go. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Okay, remember this guy? It was the Eagles-Packers game. Yeah, we played the clip yesterday. He was an Eagles fan. This is in Philadelphia. It's block. Okay, New York Post. I don't want you to send me notifications. They're in Philadelphia, and he starts just verbally abusing a Packer fan. This very nice girl. You can see her right here. She's in the Packer hat and the glasses. There you go. We get a better look at this picture. Oh, fucking New York Post. All right, so here they are. So here's the guy. Here's the girl. She didn't do anything wrong. This guy just doesn't like that there's somebody who roots for another team that isn't his team near him. God, think about the emotional freaking infancy that this guy lives with. So he called her an ugly cunt. He's like, shut up, you ugly cunt. And then her boyfriend, fiance, it's being reported in some stories. Fiance was like, hey, don't call her an ugly. You don't do that, mister, or whatever it was that he said. So her dad is there too. She's there with her dad and her fiance. And this Eagles fan goes, and he's saying it right here. See his hand, how it's out. This is how he's saying. He's saying it like, well, what do you mean? She's obviously an ugly, dumb cunt. What are you going to do about it? So this Eagle fan is challenging these two. We're not going to get into what we got into yesterday, okay? This is this right here. If this says to me, if I'm her fiance, this looks to me, says that, you okay going to jail tonight? Because we'll get you bailed out, but you're going to have to break this fucker's jaw because you don't let people talk to me. And I think women have every right to have that expectation from their men if they find themselves in a situation like this, especially when they've done nothing. They are being victimized by the other cats in the jungle. That's what this is. The world is a scary place. Men suck. So that when you see that a woman who you have pledged your love to, you don't let this happen. And I'm not going to rant about that. You don't let it happen. And if you don't let it happen, Dad, I can't believe Dad let it happen. Now, again, they're from Wisconsin. They're very nice people. This Philly guy deserved to have his jaw broken. He just deserved it. Also, apparently, the fiance is a YouTuber, and so he was more interested in filming it, which I might see as justification. Got to be honest with you. You know, that is a reason as a fellow YouTuber. If you thought you're letting him call your girlfriend this would make for some really good numbers, I would like to think that my girlfriend, after the struggle of doing this every day for 3 years, she'd understand that she's just going to have to get called a cunt in this very specific instance because these hits are going to be too good. So if that's the case, then I apologize for anything that I said yesterday. Dad still has no excuse. Dad has no excuse. So an update on this clown, right? So here we go. Guess what? Yesterday we learned that Big Dom, the head of security for the sideline there and the crowd, because, you know, the Eagles need to have somebody who's in charge of fans that get out of hand because the Eagle fans are the worst. Just look at this guy. So Big Dom identified the woman here seen in the picture and identified the guy. The guy is banned from Eagles games for the rest of his life. The woman has been apologized to by the Eagles organization and sent a care package of Green Bay Packers gear, which is her team, which is very nice. They didn't need to do that. Look, man, the Lurie family, the Eagles are, I know that this is going to sound harsh to the Cowboy ears, but the Eagle family, the people there, they're classy people, okay? The fans suck. Eagle fans are the worst. But the family that owns that team, they're classy people. So that was a very nice gesture. We found out who this guy was, and, you know, we wanted to see what would the world do to him. Well, guess what? We've got info on this guy. Here, let me share some. Let's go through who this dude is. His name is Ryan Caldwell. Ryan Caldwell is that guy's name who called that woman a dumb, ugly cunt because she was a fan of a different team and had the audacity to sit near him. Caldwell has been banned from all future events at Lincoln Financial Field. A source with knowledge of the situation confirmed to the Post, and his employer. All right, so this is important. This is what we want to get to. Yeah. You're going to act like this in public? Ooh. You better not have a job. You better not be out here representing somebody, or you better not have a boss. If you go viral, we attach your boss to you. Ooh, that ain't going to be good. So that's always the fun part, to see if they get fired. This dude, believe it or not, he works for, this is good. Honestly, I would have never pegged this dude as a libtard. I would not. The guy who was like, "You dumb cunt." Yeah, what are you gonna do about it, you dumb cunt? I would have never pegged that guy for a libtard. I thought pure MAGA. Honestly, I'm like, that's the kind of aggressive, fucking no sense about how to talk to people that I expect from rank and file MAGA in a football situation. I do not expect that from a libtard. I expect a libtard to be like, like that non-violent, non-aggressive pussy, if you will. All right. Dude turns out, guess he's a libtard. He works. He's like a project manager for a DEI-focused management firm. Yeah, Caldwell's been banned from all future events. It says that his employer, BCT Partners, a DEI-focused management consulting firm based in East Brunswick, New Jersey, is involved and engaging in their own investigation. It says here the management at BCT Partners has been made aware of a video circulating involving an employee making offensive remarks outside of the workplace. The company said in a statement released Monday on X. Without naming the employee, BCT Partners denounces this type of behavior, and we take this matter extremely seriously. As an organization that has always stood for inclusivity, the conduct displayed was completely unacceptable and stands in direct opposition to our values. Nah, you're a DEI management company. You didn't have these values until you realized that there was money in the federal government for a company that could pose as a management consulting company specializing in DEI. That's what you are. You were created because there was now a federal budget for this kind of stuff. Stop acting like, this is not. It's all a con. Capitalism is run amok. Everything is about. Don't do it. The management of BCT Partners has been made aware of the video circulating. This stands in direct opposition to our company values. It goes on to say, we have already begun a full investigation as an internal personal matter to determine what actions will be taken. We sincerely apologize to everyone affected by this behavior and remain committed to fostering a culture of respect for all. Later Tuesday, BCT Partners fired Caldwell. There we go. That's what I was looking for. They fired his ass. Good. BCT Partners aims to harness the power of diversity, insights, and innovation to transform lives, accelerate equity, create lasting change, and cash those big fat federal checks. Caldwell's LinkedIn page no longer exists and his social media accounts have been deleted. How sad, how sad, how sad. What an asshole. Fuck that guy. You don't talk to people that way. I'm sorry. That is a Rubicon. You don't cross that. You don't cunt. You called a stranger a cunt in front of her father and you walked away from it? No, fam, you don't walk away from that. You lose your job. The internet gets involved. You may not have got punched out in the moment, but you took one right in the nuts. A couple of days later, you piece of shit. All right, let's go. What else do we have here? Nah, that's it. Who we kidding? Show's over. I got nothing more for you. How's the chat room? Hey, by the way, how you like the head? Usually I wear the black hat and black shirt for consistency. How we doing? Was the head glare? Like one of the reasons that I wear a hat is because the light is always in front of me and the light had always caused a big head glare. But for some reason today, I don't think we got a big head glare. And so we might be seeing old Baldy here more often. Thinking about abandoning the whole always wear the same thing for editing because, well, it's been about a year and a half of that and I ain't never done any editing. So maybe that's not a thing. Maybe. I don't know. Sports Bras say, do they still have an actual jail at their stadium? That's all you need. Talking about the Philadelphia Eagles in their famous holding cell underneath the old RFK Stadium. That was back in the day. I don't know if the new one does. I do know this. There was a judge there. They have a judge to adjudicate cases like in the moment, like a late night New Year's Eve, like city judge thing. There is a judge. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say too much because I might have it wrong because I don't know that it's like there's an actual hearing room. But no, there is a judge. Maybe it's for writing search warrants to take people's blood after. I don't know what it is. But yes, I was half listening recently and they're like, well, there's a judge there for every game in case they need someone to adjudicate. I don't know what it is. Whatever. But yeah, they're pretty messed up. They're messed up as a people, man. You know, one of my favorite movies of all time, a movie that I, whenever I get the blahs, whenever I have the little depression thing, I always watch, well, there's a couple of movies that I like to watch when I know that I'm sliding. There's like a couple of movies that I just watched to kind of like, kind of get me regulated. One of them is I can't even think of the name of it. It's that Jim Carrey movie where he tries to have his memories or something about eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. That's what it is. That's it. Eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. That's one that I always watch when I get the blahs. What's the other one with Kirsten Dunst about the end of the world? Melancholia. Have you guys ever seen Melancholia? Have you guys ever seen Melancholia? Oh, well, I think maybe you have to have depression to enjoy it. But if you have depression, it is one of the wonderful things about suffering from depression is that there are movies like Melancholia, which are made for you. Literally in the name. Melancholia, depression. It is so good. Oh, it's about the end of the world. It's about the world is ending. There's another planet that's going to crash into Earth. We've known this for weeks. And it's about how do we act with one another when we know. And in the sky, you see the other planet coming. Like there's just another, like in the background. Oh my God, it's fucking 5 times the size of the moon now. Oh, there's the moon. Oh, here comes the other planet. Melancholia. If you haven't seen it. And no one's seen it. It's Kirsten Dunst. I think it's the best thing she's ever done. It's great. It's also a Lars von Trier movie. So buckle up, bitches. If you're unfamiliar with Lars von Trier, he is like Nordic and he is like, I don't need to do a Lars von Trier impersonation. He's odd. Yeah. The other one that I watched, though, which relates to the Philadelphia Eagles and fandom, is Silver Linings Playbook, which I'm at the point now where I can pretty much like if somebody said do a scene from a movie, right? Like I could do full scenes from Silver Lining Playbook. That's how good that movie is. That is a special movie. My favorite scene is the scene in, I'm telling you, there's like one person in the chat room who has even the slightest familiarity with that film. So, and I'm going to describe a random scene from the movie. I don't think so. God, I got to be more thoughtful for my audience. Anyway, Silver Linings Playbook deals with being Philadelphia Eagle fans to some extent. It deals with being a bipolar, manic, depressive individual. That's Bradley Cooper. And he's also a big Eagles fan. And his dad is a big Eagles fan. But funny enough, his dad, played by Robert De Niro in Silver Linings Playbook, is banned from Eagles games for the rest of his life. Because his dad, Robert De Niro, plays a guy who has been one of those Eagles fans who got into way too many fights. And suddenly the Eagles just decided you are no longer welcome at games. So Robert De Niro, one of the big things in the movie is they can't go to Eagles games anymore. Because there is also another scene where Bradley Cooper does go to an Eagles game with all of his friends. And they, of course, get into a huge fight. And it becomes a huge thing. So the Philadelphia Eagles are just a garbage team. And it's not even like we're saying this from the perspective of Cowboy fans. This is a well-known thing. Everyone knows Philadelphia Eagle fans are the garbage fans of the league. White Sox fans come second. I think that's fair. As a White Sox fan, I would love to be the biggest garbage fans in sports in America. I'll take being the biggest garbage fans in baseball. That's fine. But yeah, Philadelphia Eagle fans, they're the worst. They're the worst of the worst. Why White Sox fans? Well, we'll put it to you this way. Just off the top of my head, we're the only team in baseball who on 2 separate occasions have had people jump the wall to either stab or physically attack with fists home plate or umpires and coaches of other teams. We did that twice. White Sox fans jumped onto the field and just tackled an umpire and started beating the fuck out of him in the middle of the game. We did it twice, off the top of my head. And then off the top of my head, we also burned the stadium down in the middle of a game once. Don't know if you've ever heard of the disco demolition fiasco, but yeah. So I'm a White Sox fan, and I'm perfectly comfortable being the biggest trash fans in baseball. That's who we are. Southside, mother. You ever seen Shameless? That's who we are. That's what that's all about. But nah, the Eagles are even worse. Hey, tonight, don't forget, we're gonna do Pugs and Parker. We'll do a Pugs and Parker thing tonight. 7 o'clock. I got meeting after meeting after meeting until I believe my last one is 6:45 around, and then James gets here at like 7:30. All right, so I got a lot to do here. But I love you guys. Tip the show if you can. Drop a little something in the Cash App or in the Venmo. That's how we keep doing these shows every day. Tomorrow's show will be back at normal time, noon-ish, somewhere around noon. I appreciate you hanging out with me, and we'll see you. We'll see you back here tomorrow. From the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E-Gallery, I am Pugs Moran. This has been The Rant.